Hi guys, welcome into the channel. My name is Sarah. I'm a mindset mastery coach, attachment style specialist, and transformational hypnotherapist. And I'm back today with a video in the series. This would be video number 5 in the series, but there was an initial video I posted a couple weeks ago, and it was all about the dismissive avoidant and what happens in the aftermath of the breakup, like what's really going on. And in today's video, we're talking about the truth about why dismissive avoidants come back, because it's not what you think, and what to do when they actually do come back. I'm gonna give you specific examples of why this happens and what to do. By the way, all of this being said, that I focus on your healing. So when you're working with me in a personal session, we're focusing on your healing, understanding what happened, having the education of attachment styles, including your own, and then separating from that so that we can heal you, so that you can move forward. That's always my intention. But I understand that there's such a need to know in this experience, especially if this is the first experience you've had with an avoidant type partner. And this is why so often it looks like narcissism, because there can be an overlap. And I'm going to talk about that in future videos with you guys, because I want to share my experience more in depth of what really happened inside of my marriage, because it wasn't pretty. And I'm only now in the past couple months really coming to terms with the severity of the avoidance and the fact that that has a profound effect on your attachment style, and it has a profound effect on the confusion that you experience after these connections and relationships with severe dismissive avoidance, especially if they're unethical ones. So let's get in. By the way, if you want to work with me one-on-one, there's a link below to both my website and to click for a 15-minute discovery call. And I also have opened up my Patreon. Actually, I just posted 2 posts this morning for you guys, so dig in. There's lots of good bonus content in there and lots of good healing content. Okay, so we all know that a dismissive avoidant will act like they don't care in the aftermath of a divorce. Whether they initiate or you initiate, you're gonna feel like, I am the only one going through the pain here. I'm the only one who's actually feeling the weight and the severity of this divorce or separation or breakup. And it can leave you feeling extremely confused and also worthless. Like the people that come to me, clients that come to me, there's this sense of, I'm just not worthy. Like, why wasn't I worthy of this person's love? Why wasn't I worthy of them choosing me? How were they able to just discard me? We had X amount of years, we shared X amount of memories. So they might have even said things in the divorce or the breakup that were really soul crushing, that you're like, I can't believe. They will just sort of like eject themselves from the relationship. And this is truly what they're doing, is they're turning off their emotions, even more so than before. So it can look like you're getting a different version of the person that you were with. So then it's like weeks later, months later, even years later, suddenly you're like, why are they watching my stories? Or why are they checking in? Why am I getting a, hey, how are you? ? Text, right? Or just a hi text. Why are they back in my DMs? Like, what's going on here? What is the psychology of this? So today I'm gonna break down exactly why dismissive avoidants do come back, and then how you can handle it without losing yourself in the process of your curiosity. Don't lose yourself in the process, guys. I want you to keep your self-esteem. I want you to keep your confidence, and I want you to keep a piece, not just a piece. I want you to reclaim all the pieces of your worthiness and your power, and understand that you don't have to give your power away just because they come back. And also, they come back, that doesn't mean they've changed, and it doesn't mean they've healed. So first, let's get something clear. Let's talk about the real reasons a DA returns, and let's get something clear. They don't come back because they've magically healed out of thin air, okay? Nobody heals out of thin air. It's not like, plop, I'm healed, plop, I'm healed. That's not what happens for any of us. It would be fantastic in a way, but then we would just be bypassing. So a lot of people bypass their healing. I've been guilty of it. I'm sure you have too, if you're being honest. We don't know what we don't know. But when we know better, it's our responsibility to actually heal and do more. We're responsible for our healing, even if it's not our fault what happened to us in our childhood, okay? Dismissive avoidants also don't come back because they suddenly know how to love you right. And I think this is so important, guys. You want a partner that knows how to love you, that cherishes you, that respects you, that honors your feelings. And a dismissive avoidant likely wasn't able to provide that. Perhaps temporarily, superficially in the beginning, but when shit really hit the fan and things got real and real life happened, real events happened, it's likely that your DA partner just wasn't showing up for you. Let me think of an example in my marriage. My cat, who was special needs, like the love of my life, who passed last June, he had 6 amazing months after this illness. We got sick, the cats all got sick. It was a horrific experience for a new marriage. And like, to put it this way, he had a partially collapsed lung that we're pretty sure he was born with. So when he got really sick, it was really hard for him to recover. Where the other cats recovered, within a week, he was really struggling. So he ended up needing oxygen. So we set up a homemade oxygen tank. Yes, you can do that. And I was bawling, I was crying, I was trying to come to terms with the fact that he may or may not make it, which he did, and then he passed away 6 months later. And my husband at the time was worried about money. So when I look back on this experience, I understand now, like it gives me the sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach because I understand that that's not love. He could have waited to talk about money. I was literally bawling, crying, just uncontrollable. What I needed was to be consoled. What I needed was for somebody to sit in that space with me and share. Even if they didn't share my feelings exactly, I needed them to share in my pain. I needed them to say, I'm here with you. I'm right here. I'm next to you. I want to support you through this. It was a method of control and avoidance, but also control, to feel the need to bring up money while my cat was sick and while I was told he had a 50-50 chance of surviving and while I was trying to come to terms with this. And I just, looking back on it, I don't know if any of you can relate out there if you've had a similar experience with a DA. It's absolutely soul crushing to experience that. I did not have a partner in that moment, and I realized I never really did. What I had was a controlling person who needed to control everything, including the finances, at the expense of my feelings. So my feelings were basically silenced. That's what you learn with a DAs. Your feelings get silenced because you're not allowed to have them. So this is an extreme example, but it's real. So I want to share that with you. So when a DA comes back, they come back because they realize that the very walls that they thought were protecting them started to feel like a prison, like their own imprisonment that they created for themselves. Because suddenly, maybe they're realizing, hey, he or she isn't actually coming back. They're not chasing me, and they're no longer available, right, for me to control or for me to withdraw from. And suddenly they're not getting their hit of dopamine. So for a DA, they can get a hit of dopamine when they can control, when they can avoid, when they can withdraw. Whether they're doing it consciously or not doesn't really matter. So they'll start to feel lonely. The DAs are very lonely people because they're alone in the world because they've created that for themselves. They've made it that way. So they realize that the connection that you were offering, or rather trying to offer them because they couldn't receive that love from you, the understanding, the emotional safety, it starts to feel irreplaceable for the dismissive avoidant. They start to panic a little bit, like, uh-oh, maybe I did something that I can't go back on. Maybe I've created something that's actually punishing me and hurting me, even though if it was intended to punish or hurt you. So they may reach out, but it's not from a place of healing. It's from a place of their own pain, from their own discomfort. And that, my friends, does not equate to a healthy reconnection whatsoever. So let me explain for a minute how avoidants experience regret, because it's not the way that a secure person would, or even an anxious person would, or even a fearful avoidant. Dismissive avoidants will rarely say, I messed up, I'm wrong, and I want to be vulnerable. Let's have a vulnerability party. That's not going to happen with a DA. Instead, they'll send a safe text. Hey, how have you been, man, woman? How have you been? What's up? It's not going to be thinking of you. It's not going to be I miss you. It's not going to be sharing a memory. A fearful avoidant will do those things, but a dismissive avoidant will not. It's going to be casual. It'll be like a breadcrumb. And if you're really, really eager, or you're really in pain, or you really are relying on external validation, you're going to eat that up. And unfortunately, you're going to take the bait. But I'm going to help you not do that this time and make a different choice. Because this is their extremely terrified way of checking in to see, hey, are they still available for me to, do what I do? Are they still available for this cycle, this pattern that's all they know until they heal? Because they don't want to fully risk being seen or being vulnerable. But this is a safe way. And this is why they'll watch your stories on social media. So what do you do? What must you do when they do return, if they return? If you respond like nothing happened, they will reset. They get the connection without having to actually do anything, having to grow, having to evolve, having to self-reflect, and nothing will change in this dynamic. Not a good look for you and your healing and your self-worth, and not a good idea. Don't just give in like, oh, hey, I'm good. How are you? How's so-and-so? How's the family? They're going to feel like they can get away with this. And the cycle will repeat every time, but it'll be shorter cycles of that honeymoon period and more cycles of the avoidance. I can guarantee this. I've heard this from clients. I've experienced it myself. Set the boundary. I'm not available for breadcrumbs. I'm not available for half connections, for no self-reflection on your part. I'm not available for these games. What I'm available for is XYZ. True connection, healing, partnership, etc. Whatever it is that you need that you weren't getting, that will probably scare them away, FYI. But it's a simple, clear, and strong boundary. And let me tell you something, when you're used to living a life of not having boundaries, hi, INFJ, any other INFJs out there? No, we didn't do boundaries. And also as a fearful avoidant, I didn't know how to do boundaries. I knew how to get angry, right? So when you set boundaries, people in your life that are used to crossing them aren't gonna like it. They're not gonna like it. I don't care. Do it anyway. You shouldn't care either, because this is for your benefit, your self-worth, your self-love, your progress, your healing, and your path forward. And this is how you get out of meeting another dismissive avoidant and having your heart shattered all over again. And I know that you want that, because I work with clients every day, 6 days a week, that desperately seeking Susan, but desperately seeking yourself, that are desperately seeking healing so that they don't repeat this pattern, so that this doesn't happen again. So that instead, when you meet another avoidant, and by the way, after 40, the dating pool is full of avoidants. It's full of people who have been deeply hurt and wounded and have not healed and just keep repeating patterns and cycles. Yay, not fun. So if that's the case, then what you can do is focus on yourself, focus on your healing, focus on getting back to you, doing the things that you love. Because I can guarantee you in this relationship, you got away from all of that. You may have even been isolated like me. I moved 3,000 miles away to the desert in an isolated small town. And as soon as he had me, I got to share my story. But as soon as I was there, that's when the dynamics began. That's when the avoidance began. That's when the control tactics began. And that's usually how it goes. So this is the hard truth, guys, for this video. Some avoidants will rise to meet your boundaries. There are those who are able to self-reflect, who want to work, who want to grow, who will actually experience regret and remorse, but not for themselves, for the pain they caused others. They have to be able to, do both. They'll do the real work. And here's the kicker. Many will not. Many will not do the work, and that is okay. And you can't, and I can't predict if your XDA is going to be one of the percentage, I don't even know how many, who actually do the work or not. I think it's more and more. I truly am seeing more and more people rise to the challenge, but we have no way of predicting that. So in other words, don't sit around and wait for this to happen. You're not handing out access anymore to your heart and your life without solid proof of actionable change. Actions, not words. Words don't mean anything. They're glitter, they're gold. They're fancy, they're fun, they're beautiful, but that's not real change. You're not building a life anymore on an unstable foundation, hoping someone may actually choose to meet you where you're at some point in the near future or some point in the distant future, or they may never. You're not doing that anymore. You're choosing yourself. So I want to just encourage you to honor yourself, to choose yourself, And I want you to know that you're not alone in this. I want you to know that there's so many people who are experiencing these dynamics and patterns in relationships. And it's not that it's your fault for choosing, it's not an avoidance fault for being avoidant, but it is their responsibility to heal. It's not your fault if you continue to choose avoidant or narcissistic partners, but it is your responsibility to heal. And one thing that I see all the time, a pattern with myself and my clients, is you start off with, narcissistic abuse. You graduate from that, you learn those lessons, and the universe delivers an avoidant. Severe dismissive avoidant. And then it's like, oh shit, okay, this isn't a narcissist. This is someone who is deeply unhealed and who needs to work on that before they ever get involved with somebody. I don't think you need to be fully healed to get into a relationship. Does that even exist? But you need to be healed up to a certain point. That includes both partners, by the way. You too, anyone watching, and your avoidant ex. And you both have to be able to enter that relationship and say, hey, I lean avoidant, I lean anxious, but let's work, to meet in the middle and be as secure and stable as we can. And being so honest about your triggers. Own your triggers, guys. Own your stuff. Your triggers are yours. They're not your DA's. They're not the ex before that. They're not your parents. They're yours. And what happened to us in our childhood is not our fault, especially if there was horrific abuse or patterns of abuse. It was not your fault. You were innocent. You were young. You couldn't defend yourself. But it is your responsibility now to heal from that. And are there cases where someone is so wounded and hurt that they've suppressed or repressed the memories and don't even realize that there was abuse? Absolutely. But what you will notice is patterns in your life. If patterns are persisting, you got to get to the question mark behind them. You got to get to the root and the source of that pain that's causing you to continue to reenact these patterns and cycles that are hurting you, that are allowing you to choose partners that are controlling or narcissistic or abusive or emotionally neglectful or all of the above, that are causing you to abandon yourself. That is absolutely an inside job. It's not your ex's fault. It's not your parents' fault. But it's our responsibility to heal. I'm sending you guys so much love in this moment, so much love. And I truly, truly wish for healing for all of us in this world. We all desperately need it. And it starts with really honoring yourself. So thank you guys for being here. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take good care.